screen. Sharing and cool.
Okay.
That work?
Whoa, not really. Oh yeah, there you go.
I'm also too, I'm going to need one of you guys to teach me how to do this and change the slides and all that. I don't know
Yeah.
who does that usually.
Michelle, let's practice. We'll practice, you and I, and I'll take you through the tech part too.
Okay.
So let's set up a time maybe this weekend. I don't know, it's Easter, but like whatever. I have the next couple days that we can set some time aside.
Okay.
Okay, David, all you.
So are you doing a...
No, I won't do an
No intro. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, fam. Well, first and foremost, there's a lot of things you could be doing on a Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. So for you to take time out of your busy schedule to spend it here, I honestly appreciate that and I respect that. And so for me, with you respecting me, I'm going to respect you. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this really quick and simple. This whole presentation should take no longer than 15 to 20 minutes, which is so good because what we're about to explain to you, the simplicity is the most important part. And so a little background on me so you kind of know who you're talking to. My name is David Roden. I'm 27 years old. I was pre-med in college. I was actually following my family footsteps of my dad to be a cardiologist or go into the medical field. And I came to a big fork in the road my junior year. I was about to work on taking the MCAT. I was about to go do other things I needed to do to go into med school. And so before I took that leap, I wanted to make sure it was what I wanted. It would not only was we all put this misconception on what we want. Like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. But before you do that, you want to know, okay, what does being a doctor entail? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? And so I started looking at my dad's life, and there was things I quite enjoyed. Obviously, the income of a cardiologist is something you can fall in love with, and I grew up with all the resources and support. And the way I always break down money is money doesn't make your life better or worse. It just gives you opportunity. It gives you better quality of choices out there. And so I got the opportunity to experience more of what the choices you get to have by having more resources. But this was the big catch for me. And for me, this is the reason why I didn't go into med school was my dad's 67 years old and he still works 70 hours plus a week. And it's just unreal to think that I looked back and when I was in high school, I'm not kidding, he'd work on call and weekends every fifth week. And so he'd get called into the hospital for heart attacks at midnight, 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., work all day Saturday. Then he would get a nap in from probably 7 to 10. And then he'd get called in for a heart attack at midnight and 3 a.m. And then he'd be in the hospital again. And then he worked all day Sunday. So I'm not even kidding you. My dad would push 100 hours in a week. And of just being in the hospital. And I just looked at that and I came to the conclusion based on what I wanted out of life, which is I don't care how much money you make. If you're a slave to your job, you're a slave to your job. And that just wasn't what I wanted. And so I looked around. I decided med school wasn't for me. So I really looked into what other opportunities were out there. And for me, it came down to business. Business is the best potential of income to time freedom that you can create. Everything else kind of just is tough to do outside of that realm. And so for me, that's when I got into business. And over the last 6 years, I've been a full-time entrepreneur after I graduated college. And it's been an incredible experience. It's been a roller coaster, I will be honest. I've had some good times. I've had some character building experiences, but to say the least, I wouldn't change it for the world because it's made me who I am today. And it feels good that today I was able to take off half of the afternoon to go help my aunt who's got cancer. And most people don't have that opportunity. Most people, my dad was at work, my my actual cousins were working, and I had the opportunity based upon my time freedom to be able to do that. And it's such a humbling experience for me to be able to value my time. And so that's a little background on me, just so you kind of know who you're talking to. Now, why are we here? What is this all about? And for me, the simplicity of what Euphoria has to offer is what has me so empowered of what's going on. So I didn't even bring this up. This is always a fantastic, unique experience that most people don't know about me. So when I was in high school and early college, I weighed over 400 pounds. And over the last 6 years, I've lost over 170 pounds. And so health is everything to me. Like, I've witnessed what poor health is, and I've witnessed what living a life full of health and vitality is. And so for me, health is everything. If you don't have your health, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter. And so I've always loved supplementation. I've always loved trying to keep my body to its optimal ability. And when a good friend of mine came to me with this a few weeks ago, it just blew my mind. It just blew my mind. I didn't know this product was even available. And even with my biomed background, it just blew me away. And so what is Euphoria? Euphoria is a biotech company that creates custom designer supplementation based upon the genetic testing of your personal DNA. And that just absolutely blew me away, because I was a firm believer that we all are so genetically different. And so, like, when I work with different people on weight loss, I don't create generic like nutrition plans, because I know people are so genetically different that I'm not just going to create some generic plan, because I know it's not going to work for everyone. And so when this came onto my lap, it just made so much sense, because obviously we know that everyone is uniquely different, which gives us the next step of understanding just the knowledge that since we're not all alike, we need to be on custom supplementation based upon our genetic strengths and weaknesses. And so obviously we all know right now, from my background in obesity issues to all the different health and concerns in this world, we haven't been taking health as a priority. Our whole healthcare system is based upon fixing problems when they're already problems instead of preventative care. And my dad can tell you that as well. We work on the back, like the whole medical field is based upon fixing problems and not allowing them to happen in the first place. And so we need supplementation. We need to set ourselves ahead of the trend so we don't have these cancers and these heart diseases and all these issues farther into our health. And so blind nutrition. This is what we were talking about before, where it's like we all knew supplementation has been a thing. Like, we've all needed it. Over the last 80 years, it's like, obviously, since of everyone eating McDonald's instead of salads and eating fast and convenience versus health and nutrition, we're coming up short in different areas supplementation-wise. And so what has it been for the last 80 years, which has been a good step, which was the men's one-a-days, the fish oils, the just generic mass-produced utilization of supplementation to get to the general population, which is a start. It's obviously better than nothing, but it's not the best. It's not optimum for what we are, because my absorption rates on different genetic issues is different than yours. And so from that point, then you had targeted nutrition, which is we get into this point of it's still guessing over the last 10 to 15 years. It's now been like different nutritionists, different doctors and stuff kind of giving you their opinion on, oh, you're having low energy levels, we'll try L-carnitine. If you have this, we'll try this. And so it's a little more specific, but it's based upon symptoms, and it's not based upon the actual struggles you're going through. And there's still some wishy-washy kind of experience-based science and not foundational science with it and all. But finally, what Euphoria has built is the designer nutrition based upon your genetic code. And why is that so important? Is because it's undeniable. Like, my dad and I have these conversations because because health and nutrition is so important to me, that we've talked about DNA and your genes is the next step in health. The only question is, how are we going to influence it? What is the plan of action to fix the problem, to push back illness, and to give yourself the best opportunity to live the best life possible? And so my dad and I have already had those discussions. And so what happens is the company sends you, actually got a box right here, a DNA kit, bam, sleek, sexy. Inside is a pre-nutrition that gets your body ready for your custom supplement, and some mouth swabs and pre-enveloped, pre-stamped envelopes to put back into corporate. Quick mouth swab, 2 to 4 weeks later, you get this back. And this is a result back of the 18 SNPs the company tests at this point in time, everything from lipid support, mitochondrial function, to healthy weight management, immune system, all these different indicators for how your body is genetically working. A personal testimonial on this and how incredible this really is. Even like, obviously at 400 pounds, my body was pretty messed up. Like, I had high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, had a lot of problems with my health. But even after my weight loss, I got off all my diabetes meds. I got all that under control. However, my blood pressure was still high, and I controlled everything. I was controlling water. I was controlling sodium. I was controlling everything you can. I was in the 0.01% of like how controlled my nutrition was, and I still couldn't get my blood pressure to 120/80. Couldn't do it. And so I still got it low enough that I got off all my pharmaceutical drugs, but it was just not normal. And crazy enough, when I got my report back, this fourth one right here, the aldosterone synthase gene, healthy blood pressure, I had a red smiley face, which basically means both my parents gave me a genetic variance that is not ideal for blood pressure control, which totally makes sense because I still have this problem today. And so knowing that, when you get into your report, it will explain to you more in details what different supplements should be in your daily nutrition and what's going to be in yours. And so from that point, obviously we get into the nutrition side of things, and you get your personal nutrition based upon your DNA and what your body needs. And we already know that DNA test is nothing new. Like, we've been doing this already for Heritage and 23andMe. This is nothing new. The issue is, up until now, it's been pretty much spending $200 to find out you're 2.6% Bangladeshian, which is like cool, but it's like, what value does that bring? Cool, you find out you're Italian. So what? Like, this is that we already have this money being spent in this area to find out now where your genetic strengths and weaknesses are and what you're going to worry about in the future and what you need to prevent in the future is honestly where things will go when we get into euphoria, being able to take your DNA and give you a good synopsis of where you need to be. And then obviously we know the difference. Blind nutrition is straight guessing. Designer nutrition is where we need to be and is the next logical step in supplementation. And what's really cool from that is, if that's all this is for you, is just like to get you as ideally healthy as possible, perfect. What's awesome is we actually have a 4 for free customer referral program that if you just want to be on the product and that's all this is for you, perfect. You refer 4 customers and you get your nutrition for free every single month. All you got to do is pay tax and shipping. And so it's a really cool way to get yourself in the front door. And obviously we always tell our friends what we love and what products we love from movies and everything else in between. But that's a really cool program that the company built on to help incentivize you to share the product that you love. And so from this point, I'm actually going to have a really good friend of mine, Dane, hop on the phone here. He's going to share with you the business side and what this has on a opportunity and why the business is so important to me, kind of sharing with you before of just leverage and business, knowing how to create not only money freedom, but time freedom. And so Dane here is going to go into the background of that, but just a little bit on Dane so you have a general idea. First and foremost, one of the goofiest, awesome, light-hearted men you'll ever meet in your entire life. And for me, that's like, I don't care background in business. I don't care how much money you've made. if I have a vibe that you have bad character, I don't want to work with you. I don't care how much money you've made. If you have bad character, I ain't working with you. And so Dane is by far the most incredible, humble souls you'll ever meet. And he's absolutely doing incredible things in this business, and he's been moving extremely well, building an infrastructure of both nutritionists and customers, and he's absolutely excited for the future to come. There's not a question he's going to be a six-figure earner in this organization. And with that being said, I'm going to have Dane take over the second half of this presentation.
Mr. Roden, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I definitely can. Thank you very much. Thanks for the kind words. I'll try to live up to the hype by remaining humble. I will remain humble. And I'll say that I'm not as cool as he says I am. But part of this presentation, part of this whole industry is trying to be better every day than you were yesterday. And a lot of people reflect with the mirror and then they compete with the world. And some of my favorite people like David Roden, are the type who reflect in the mirror. No, compete in the mirror and reflect in the world. And I butchered that today, but I probably won't tomorrow. So I'm going to get into the second half of this presentation because this is what gets me excited, right? I've always been into health and wellness and fitness and nutrition and supplementation. I was born with asthma, a little background on me, 26 years old, born with asthma, died of pneumonia at like 4 days old. And ever since I was a little kid, I knew that if I didn't outwork my asthma, it would get the best of me, right? So I pushed through. I used my inhaler. I was a 3-sport varsity athlete, and I had an inhaler at every event, and it was hard. And there's a story that's like, you have to want it as bad as you want to breathe in order to be successful. And I know that it's a requirement in leadership. I know it's a requirement in leadership to want something more than you want anything else. You have to want it so bad that it oozes from you, right? You eat it, sleep it, breathe it, drink it. It's everything. So when it comes to leadership, LaCour Enterprises is the epitome of what I'm talking about. When it comes to leadership, Terry LaCour is a monster, for a lack of better words. It's a logistics company that does hundreds of millions of dollars of sales a year, and I'm proud to say that it's the backbone, it's the infrastructure that we get to leverage as nutritionists with this company, Euphoria. The reason I got involved, to be honest, the reason I was so excited to get involved and start building is because of the training, which comes from Mr. Eric Warray, who, again, it's hard to put words behind some of these people. Eric Warray is one of the men who spearheaded one of the largest events in entrepreneur history. It's an annual event called Go Pro Recruiting Mastery. It's in Vegas every year in December. And this guy is on another level when it comes to training. He has, in his career as a network marketer, he did a lot of revenue. He generated a lot of commissions, but he has since removed himself from the field and become an independent representation of network marketing and direct sales itself. And when Euphoria launched, the CEO and visionary, Mr. Ron Williams, who's in the next box, he, as a visionary, they want as a collective to give everybody who gets started here the best start possible, the best systematic tool driven approach possible to see success and duplication in this business, in this space. And so I'm proud to announce that these are the leaders. These are the guys that the captains of this ship. These are the guys who are responsible for the culture here at Euphoria. And I'm proud to represent what they're building and what they're creating as far as the culture. Next slide, please. The two most important questions that people ask when hearing about Euphoria is, can I do it and is it worth it? And we'll get back to those later, but I want you to kind of think about that. I want to plant those seeds, so to speak. Can I do it and is it worth it? I want to touch on the second one. Yeah, I want to touch on the second one real quick. So is it worth it is hard to say, but I want you to think about what you want. And I don't mean what you think you can have, but I want you to think about what you want and ask yourself, is that worth it? If you could have the life of your dreams and time and money were not an issue, and you had the life you wanted, what would that be? I want you to keep that in mind as we go through this presentation. And I want you to think of the role that money plays in bringing those things to fruition, bringing those things into your reality. Next slide, please. And thank you. So the wealth distribution in America right now is a little bit lopsided. It's a little cattywampus. If there was 100 people in a room and we had $100 bills, 97 of those dollar bills go to 3 people, and then 97 of the people get to split the rest of the $3 amongst themselves. It's a little bit wonky. Next slide, please. Why is it this way? This is the question, right? This is, why is this set up the way that it is? And another question becomes, how can I utilize this? So the reason that it's the way it is because the majority of people, 95, 97% of people, trade their time for money. They use linear income. 3% of people use leveraged income. So I'll go into what that means in the next couple slides. Next slide, please. The 97% use linear income, like I said, which is trading time for money like a salary or an hourly employee, right? So the idea, like David was talking about earlier in the call, even as a doctor who's an independent business owner, if they don't show up to practice, they're not making any money, right? So the idea of passive income is, or leveraged income, it comes later in the presentation. So next slide, please. Oh, trading time. Oh, okay. Good job. There we go. There we go. Trading time for money, the 40-40-40 plan. There we go. Trading time for money is the 40-40-40 plan, or the old way, which is go to school, get good grades, go to college, maybe, get better grades, build a resume, beg someone to hire you and take the first job that comes along so that you can work for 40 hours a week, usually 50, for 40 years of your life, usually 50, so you can retire on 40% of your income, usually less. So next slide, please. The old way leads to an average retirement age of 72 years old and an average death age of 76. So what that tells me, first and foremost, is never retire. Don't retire, because then you die. You only have 4 years to live after you retire. That's what that tells me. But secondly, loyalty is a whole new game. It's all good. Loyalty is a whole new game. So in 2019, how many people do you know that retire from the same company that they started working with? This idea that you get a job at a company and you work your way up the ladder and into a position of power, and then you retire and you get a pension. That idea worked not too long ago, but it's dying. It's dying out because of downsizing and doors shutting, because technology's taking the jobs of people on site, or there's outsourcing. There's people who are being found overseas to do 3 times the work in half the time with half the money. So there's all kinds of crazy reasons. It's not usually because a person wants to leave, but loyalty to a company is not what it used to be. It's an old model. Next slide, please. So when it comes to euphoria, the reason we're on this call, the second reason we're on this call, is to see the plan, to see how we can leverage euphoria to build a passive residual income. So how can we align ourselves with some health trends that are on the forefront of science, like David was talking about earlier, these products? How can we align ourselves with a market trend that is up and coming, a projected $600 billion industry? How can we leverage that and become a part of the 3%, or at least build the habits of the 3%, right? Next slide, please. So when it comes to euphoria, leverage is the key word. Leverage is what separates the the 97% from the 3%. Leverage, and it doesn't separate. Leverage happens on both sides. If you're on the 97% and you're being paid by the hour or salary or by the performance or by the work that you put in on the spot, if you're trading time for money only, because you always have to trade time to add value. But if you're only trading time for money and you're not using leveraged income, I lost it, but I'm just going to go for it. So the 3% use leveraged income. And that's where, with Euphoria and the LaCour Enterprises that I was talking about earlier, you get to use the existing infrastructure of a nearly $1 billion company, logistics company. You get the science, the investment of nearly $100 million just on the upfront, let alone the time and the energy gone into it. You get to leverage all the software like the app and all the other things that LaCour Enterprises and Euphoria offer. All the fulfillment, the customer service and the systems, all the stuff that to usually start a traditional business you have to provide. All that stuff is covered with Euphoria. So next slide, please. With Euphoria, you also get to leverage a simple marketing plan, which is word of mouth advertising instead of traditional advertising. So when was the last time you wrote down the number on a billboard as you drove by, or watched the whole entire YouTube ad longer than 5 seconds? Or when was the last time that you were, aside from the Super Bowl, when was the last time that you were excited about a TV commercial, right? Take that into account and then compare that to your friend saying that you should go see a movie. You just saw the trailer. You thought it didn't look that good, but your friend said you should go. How many times out of 10 do you usually listen to your friend and go see the movie? Word of mouth advertising is hugely powerful, and it's not very widely utilized. Euphoria uses word of mouth advertising instead of traditional advertising because it works. Next slide, please. Step 1, to represent Euphoria and leverage the current system and the current strategies that are at hand, is to pay your $40 annual membership, which is silly. I've seen some of the tools, I've seen some of the videos, and just the app in itself. Like, for a $40 membership a year, you get a full website replicated, a customer referral website, a full back office that tracks everything you need to know about your business. It has global logistics built in. It's got everything you need to build a business and track a business, and it's a taxable income. It's all legit. It's all real. It's official. So there's also an app, and the app is amazing. I won't go into it. For $40 a year, you also get access to all of Eric Worre's GoPro training. There's many modules, and I highly recommend, if you're interested in starting a business with Euphoria, I highly recommend checking out those training modules. Next slide, please. So step 2 is you decide how many packs you want. We discussed earlier the 1 pack. That is the bare bones brass tacks way to get started, plus the $40 membership that I just talked about in the last slide. However, as a business, if I own a bagel shop, I have to have bagels on hand to sell, right? If I own a sandwich shop, I probably need bread and meat and cheese and condiments and that kind of stuff. So the idea here is you open a DNA nutrition company or business. You now have an online franchise, a link to your website. So when people go through your website to buy a DNA pack, you get some credit for it. And these packs are kind of the same thing, except having them on site means that you have bagels on the shelf, right? It means that this is the meat and cheese and bread of the sandwich shop. So if you want to represent a DNA supplementation company, what products do you need to have on hand to represent? You need your nutrition. We got mine right up there. You need your nutrition, and you need DNA packs, right? Next slide, please. So if you start with a 3-pack, like it was mentioned in the last slide, you get a discount on the kits. Gets the cost down to $136 per kit. So if you sell if you use one and you sell the other 2, including the bonuses and Euphoria infrastructure, your total earnings are about $400, and your total investment was about $408. So that means is you basically broke even. You started a business, which traditionally, on average, is about $65,000, unless you're starting a franchise. So you started a business that broke even, was $8 short of breaking even. So basically that means that your kit was free. You got your DNA, lab fee, all covered, all free. And the big part is that you have a leveraged income next month of $36. And I know that sounds smart, but I want you to think about push-ups real quick. And if 5 push-ups is the most you can do, and you do the most you can for a few weeks, how long does it take before 5 is not the most you can do anymore? So the beauty of Euphoria and leveraging this system is that it's built on residual income. So starting at 36 might sound small, but as the months progress, this number 36 will exponentialize. Next slide, please. Still on step 4, you sell the remaining inventory. And this 5-pack is really where it takes the next step. So you get a little bigger discount because you bought more. You buy a bulk, you get more of a discount, right? So including the bonuses, the dividends, and the retail income that you sell the 4 other kits for, you earn $815 and you invested $640. So again, back to traditional business. If I want to open a bagel shop or a yogurt stand or a hair salon or whatever, there's an upfront cost, right? The upfront cost here is $640. And if you think you know 4 other people who would be interested in this product and these services that David was talking about earlier, if you can find those people in a 30-day span, you not only break even, which usually takes businesses 3 to 5 years if they're lucky, you break even in your first month, and you have a residual income next month of $112. So you have a profit of $175 and your kit was completely free, right? That's pretty crazy. Now, continuing step 4 on the next slide is the best way to get started with Euphoria. If you want to pay the least amount and reap the biggest reward, and I'm not talking just up front, I'm talking long term. I've watched some of the trainings. I've been in this industry for a few years, and I've seen, I've witnessed a lot of success, and I've experienced a little bit myself. What I know is that people work best in groups. And if you start with a 10-pack and you use one and you spend the next 30 days, and it doesn't have to be 30, you can do it in a week, or you can do it in 90 days, or you can take a year. But if you do it in 30 days, that means that in your first month, you have a group of people excited about using a product together. And when you sell these 9 kits at the retail volume, and you get 9 people started with their Euphoria and their pre-trition and all this, including all the discounts and commissions and all that stuff, you've opened a business. You've opened a international health and wellness business for $1,200. And in your first month, you've recuperated all of your money. You've made a profit of about $650. And next month, oh, and your kit's free. And next month, and this is the biggest one for me, you have $250 of residual income. I want to give you an idea about residual income. So, or leveraged income. So somebody builds a house. They build a house. How much money do you think that costs to invest into the house? So, and the idea of this house is so that they can monetize it on a monthly basis. They're building a house so they can rent it out for $500 a month. So how much time do you think it takes, and how much money do you think it takes to build a house so that somebody can live in there and pay them a $500 a month residual income? That would be a powerful thing to have, a $500 a month residual income. But think about the initial investment plus the monthly overhead that it would require to just attain that version of a $500 monthly income. And then look at this, then look at Euphoria, and keep in mind what I just told you. You invested $1,200, and in the first 30 days, you made a profit of $650, and next month you have a residual income of $250. That's huge. That's huge. That's life-changing income, and that's in your first month. And it only gets better. Okay, next slide, please. Euphoria also offers tools and proven systems. Like I was talking about earlier, This is the resources page, euphoriascience.com/resources. There are all the videos you could need, all the PDFs, all the brochures. There's interviews with Eric Worre. There's the CEO. You can access this all through the app, which is another great tool. There's snip videos. Like, some people really enjoy the details, the knowledge, the understanding of what this product is and what it's doing. And there are videos to answer all of those questions at the resources page. Next slide, please. This is my favorite part, because people rock. So the community, online, offline, in person, not in person, the community of people in this industry and in this company specifically is amazing. The Telegram group is popping off. I get more notifications on Telegram than I get in most other. Yes, the Euphoria Rumble. Euphoria Rumble is going to be so dope. We got our tickets. There's going to be 5,000 people there. We're going to be at the Palace from the tour. Hey, can you mute your mics, please? We're going to be in Las Vegas Regional, the 28th through the 30th. Eric Worre is going to be there for like 8 hours of training. There's going to be a dance party. There's going to be a You for You event with Ron Williams. We're at the Caesars Palace. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be off the chain. There's a whole day for field led by the field leadership. So people like David Roden and Michelle Mace and Wyatt Prunk are going to be on stage telling people their story and how they're finding success in this business. So next slide, please. Caesars Palace. It's going to be dope. I want to also shout out for November. There's going to be a cruise, and that's going to be lit too. We're renting out a whole entire cruise ship, and we're going to the Bahamas and stuff like that. Euphoria is doing events. These are pre-launch events, folks. This is huge. First thing, when you get started, when you become a nutritionist, you get your kits to your house, you get your bagels on the shelf, so to speak, and you get it ordered, right? You don't even have to get it to your house, because this is your first 24 hours. We literally have a check system. We have a check by step by check by step system that ensures that you get your business started the right way. You don't waste your time. You do what you need to do so that you're plugged into all the tools and all the networks that you need to be plugged into. Next slide, please. The two most important questions. We asked these earlier. Can I do it, and is it worth it? So, can I do it? Do you have DNA? Yes. Can you swab your cheeks and order these products? Yes, you absolutely can. Can you turn your dreams into reality by sharing something you're passionate with? Yes, I believe you can, especially if you leverage Euphoria. And is it worth it? This question, I really hope, as we were going through this presentation, you kept in your mind what you want, the life that you want, the life that not that you think you can have, but the life that you actually want. And can I do it becomes the easy question. Is it worth it is hard for me to answer. I've got a couple of questions real quick. If it's not this, then what is it? If not now, then when? And if not who? If not you, then who? Who's going to make your dreams into reality? And what is your plan outside of this? Do you have a team that you're surrounding yourself with on a regular basis that's building you? Do you have a support network? I would say that that's worth it. I would say the life of your dreams is worth it, but that's just me. Next slide, please. The next steps are super easy. Get back with the person who got you on here. They're probably a nutritionist. Go to their website, become a nutritionist yourself, pay the $40 so you can plug into everybody and be immersed in this culture. Launch your business the right way. Please do it the right way. Do yourself, do the industry, do the company, do everybody a favor. And when you're going to do this thing, do it the right way, because it'll be worth it. If you follow the system that we have at hand here with Euphoria, you will find some sort of results. You will find some sort of results. I think I can safely say that. Next slide, please. Welcome to Euphoria, where being you never felt better. I appreciate you guys very much for being on here. I appreciate you for putting up with me. And I hope you found some value in this call and this presentation. 5:45, we stretched it a little bit, but that is okay. As long as you found value, that's okay. And as far as recordings go, I think we can call that a wrap. And I would love to hear from you guys and hear what you guys think. Oh, all right. We're about to hop off here. Is that what? Bye, y'all.